Hello children, today we are going to start the problems given in exercise 12.1. Before doing the problems, do you remember what is meant by ratio? If you want to compare two quantities of the same kind by division, we can say that we have formed the ratio between those two quantities. So here we have to compare two quantities of the same kind by division. Now look at the problems. Question number 1. There are 20 girls and 15 boys in a class. What is the ratio of number of girls to the number of boys? There are 20 girls and 15 boys in a class. So, number of girls is equal to 20, number of boys is equal to 15. Number of girls is equal to 20 and number of boys equal to 15. Now look at the first question. What is the ratio of number of girls to the number of boys? What is the ratio of number of girls to number of boys? Therefore, the required ratio or the ratio of number of girls to the number of boys equal to, how many girls are there? 20 girls. Then 20, we have to put the symbol for the ratio. 20 is to number of boys is equal to 15. So 20 is to 15. Then ratio we can written in the fractional form. So 20 is to 15 means it is 20 by 15. 20 is to 15 means 20 by 15. Now we don't want to express the ratio, that means there is no need to write down the units. Here we have the number of boys and number of girls, simply the number, and we have to write the ratio in the lowest form. That means you have to write it in the lowest form. This fraction you have to reduce to the lowest form. So find out the highest common factor. Then for 20 and 15 we know that 5 is the highest common factor. So you have to divide both the numerator and denominator by 5. So which is equal to 20 divided by 5, 4. Then 15 divided by 5, 3. So we got the fraction as 4 by 3. And 4 by 3 we can write as 4 is to 3. Therefore, the ratio of number of girls to the number of boys is equal to 4 is to 3. Now, second part of the question. What is the ratio of number of girls to the total number of students in the class? What is the ratio of number of girls to the total number of students in the class? So number of girls, how many girls are there? Number of girls is equal to, there are 20 girls. So the number of girls is equal to 20. And number of boys is 15. So we have to find out the total number of students. So what is the total number of students? Total number of students is equal to number of girls plus number of boys. That is 20 plus 15. Number of boys is 15. So which is equal to 35. So the total number of students is 35. Now we have to find out the ratio of number of girls to the total number of students. Therefore, the required ratio is equal to That means the number of girls to the ratio of the number of girls to the number of total number of students. The ratio of the number of girls to the total number of students. Number of girls is 20. Then put the ratio symbol. 20 is to the total number of students is 35. So 20 is to 35. Then we can write it in the fraction form. 20 is to 35 means 20 by 35. Now after that what we have to do? We have to write it in the lowest form. So 20 and 35, the highest common factor is 5. So divide both the numerator and denominator by 5. So 20 divided by 5, 4. Then 35 divided by 5, 7. So we will get the fraction as 4 by 7. Then 4 by 7 we can write as 4 is to 7. Therefore, the required ratio is equal to 4 is to 7. Now second question. Out of 30 students in a class, 6 like football, 12 like cricket and the remaining like tennis. Find the ratio of, first question, number of students liking football to number of students liking tennis. Now read the question once again. Out of 30 students in a class, that means the total number of students in the class is 30. Then 6 like football, number of students like football is 6. 12 like cricket, number of students like cricket is 12. Then and the remaining like tennis. So we can find out the number of students like tennis. Then the first part of the question, number of students liking football to number of students liking tennis. So we can, first of all we can write the total number of students. Total number of students. So what is the total number of students? 30. There are 30 students. Total number of students equal to 30. Then number of students like football. Number of students like football. Number of students like football. How many students like football? 6 students. So number of students like football is 6. Then number of students like cricket. Number of students like cricket equal to 12. Then we have to find out the number of remaining students like tennis. So we have to find out the number of students like tennis. Therefore, number of students like tennis equal to, so from the total number of students you have to subtract the number of students like football and number of students like sum of the number of students like football and cricket. Therefore, we can write 30 minus the total number of students like football and cricket together, that is 6 plus 12. So 30 minus 6 plus 12 equal to 30 minus 6 plus 12 is 18. So 30 minus 18. So what is 30 minus 18? 12. So 30 minus 18 is equal to 12. Now look at the first part. Number of students liking football to number of students liking tennis. So first we have to write down the number of students liking football. Therefore, first part of the answer for the first part of the question, the required ratio equal to, the required ratio is equal to number of students liking football to number of students liking tennis. So how many students like football? How many students like football? 6. So 6 is to Number of students liking tennis. How many students like tennis? 12. So, 6 is to 12. So, the required ratio is 6 is to 12. Now, we have to write it in the fractional form, that is 6 by 12. 6 by 12. Now, we have to reduce to the lowest form. So, find out the highest common factor for 6 and 12. Which is the highest common factor? 6. So, we can divide both numerator and denominator by 6. So, 6 by 6, 1. So, 1 by 12 by 6, 2. Therefore, the required ratio is equal to 1 by 2. We can write as 1 is to 2. 1 is to 2. Therefore, the required ratio is equal to 1 is to 2. Now, next second part of the question. Number of students liking cricket 2. The total number of students. Number of students liking cricket. So, how many students like cricket? 12. Then what is the total number of students? 30. So, we have to find out the ratio of number of students liking cricket to total number of students. Therefore, the required ratio equal to number of students liking cricket, that you have to write down first. So, how many students like cricket? 12. So, we can write 12 is to, then the number of students, that means the total number of students. What is the total number of students? 30. So, 12 is to 30. Now, we can write it in the fraction form. 12 is to 30, how we can write? 12 by 30. So, 12 is to 30, we can write as 12 by 30. Now, we have to divide both numerator and denominator by the highest common factor. Now, what is the highest common factor for 12 and 30? 12 and 30 will come in the table of a 6. So, we can say that 6 is the highest common factor. So, we can divide both 12 and 30 by 6. Therefore, 12 divided by 6 equal to 2. 2 by 30 divided by 6, 5. So, 2 by 5. So, if you are not getting the highest common factor, step by step we can divide it. So, we will get the answer as 2 by 5, we can write as 2 is to 5. So, the required ratio is equal to 2 is to 5. Suppose if you are not getting the highest common factor, 12 by 30. So, both are divisible by 2. So, we can divide 12 by 2 and 30 also by 2. So, we will get it as a 6 by 15. Then 6 and 15 we can divide both by 3, divided by 3. So, we will get it as a 2 by 5. So, the required ratio is equal to 2 is to 5. Now, equivalent ratios. We have already learned about equivalent ratios. When we can say that the given two ratios are equivalent if the corresponding fractions are equal. For example, 2 is to 5 and 10 is to 25. We want to look into whether they are equivalent ratios. 2 is to 5 we can write as 2 by 5. The corresponding fraction is 2 by 5. Then 10 is to 25 we can write as 10 by 25. Now, if it is possible, you have to reduce to the lowest form. Here 2 by 5 is already in the lowest form. Now, 10 by 25 we can divide both numerator and denominator by 5. So, divided by 5. So, we will get 2 by 5. Now, look at that, 2 is to 5 and 10 is to 25. 2 is to 5 we got the fraction as 2 by 5. 10 is to 25, when we reduce to the lowest form we got the fraction as a 2 by 5. So, we can say that 2 is to 5 and 10 is to 25 are equivalent ratios. So, when we can say that two ratios are equivalent if the corresponding fractions are equal. Therefore, 2 is to 5 and 10 is to 25 are what type of ratios? Equivalent ratios. Equivalent ratios. Now, how we can find out the equivalent ratios? If if a particular ratio is given, how we can find out the equivalent ratios? Now, look at the question. give two equivalent ratios of 6:4. You have to find out two equivalent ratios for this 6:4. Now 6:4 we can write as a 6/4. 6 is the numerator and 4 is the denominator of the corresponding fraction. So we can multiply both the numerator and denominator by the same number. We can multiply both the numerator and denominator by the same number. So a non-zero number you have to select, any number you can select. Suppose if I select 2, multiply both the numerator and denominator by 2. 6 into 2, 12 by 4 into 2, 8. So 12 by 8, we can say that it is 12:8. So 12:8 is an equivalent ratio for this given ratio 6:4. Suppose if you want to, the question is you have to find out two equivalent ratios. Now one more we can find out, 6:4 which is equal to 6/4. Then multiply both numerator and denominator by the same number. Now if I multiply both numerator and denominator by 3, 6 into 3, 18, 4 into 3, 12. So 18/12. Now 18/12 you can write as 18:12. 18:12. So 18:12 and 12:8 are two equivalent ratios for the given ratio 6:4. So how we will get the equivalent ratios? If you multiply both the numerator and denominator by the same number, multiply both the numerator and denominator, both numerator and denominator by the same number, denominator by the same number, by the same number. Multiply both numerator and denominator by the same number. Then again, if you divide both numerator and denominator by the same number also, we will get the equivalent ratio. Now the same question, look at that, 6:4. We can write as 6/4. 6/4, if you divide both numerator and denominator by the same number, divided by 2, divided by 2. Then 6 divided by 2, 3. 4 divided by 2, 2. So 3/2 we can write as 3:2. So 3:2 is also an equivalent ratio of a 6:4. So we can divide both the numerator and denominator by the same number. That time also we will get the equivalent ratio. So multiply both numerator and denominator by the same number, or divide both the numerator and denominator by the same number. Now question number 5. Fill in the following blanks. You have to fill up. And are these equivalent ratios? And the question is whether after filling up and whether the given ratios are equivalent or not. Now look at that. First we have to consider 15/18 equal to, so we have to find out the number, then divided by 6, the numerator we have to find out. So 15/18 equal to, so first we will consider the first two. Now we know that 18 is equal to 6 into 3. So 6 into 3 is equal to 18. So how will you get this 6? 18 divided by 3 equal to 6. 6 into 3 is equal to 18 and 18 divided by 3 equal to 6. So what is the meaning of that? When we divide 18 by 3, we got the denominator as 6. So what is the meaning of that? We have to divide the numerator also by 3. So divided by 3. So 15 divided by 3 is equal to 5. So in the first box the value is equal to 5. So we can write here as 5. 5/6. Okay, so 15/18 we divide that both numerator and denominator by the same number. Then we got the answer as 5/6. Now we want to find out the second one. Now look at that second box. Then the second one, in order to find out the number, we can consider 5 by 6 equal to 10 by, so the denominator we have to find out, 10 by, the box is given. Then look at that, 5 into which number you will get 10? 5 into 2. So when we multiply 5 with 2, we will get it as 10. Therefore, we can multiply 6 also with 2. So 6 into 2, which is equal to 12. So here we multiplied both numerator and denominator by the same number. Therefore, 10 by 12. Now we want to find out the number in the last box. So which all ratios we have to consider, or which all fractions, corresponding fractions we have to consider. Now look at that, 12 into which number will you get to 30? No, not possible. But 6 into some number, when you multiply 6 with 5, you will get to 30. So we can consider 5 by 6 and the last one. So 5 by 6 equal to, so a box is given, divided by 30. Now 6 into which number you will get to 30? 6 into 5. 6 into 5 equal to 30. So multiply numerator also by 5. So 5 into 5 equal to 25. So here the last box, the value will be equal to 25. And here also we multiplied both numerator and denominator by the same number. Now look at the question, are these equivalent ratios? So the question is whether these ratios are equivalent. So we can write as 15 by 18 is equal to 5 by 6, which is equal to 10 by 12, which is equal to 25 by 30. So whether these are equivalent ratios, 15 by 18 means 15 is to 18. Then 5 is to 5 by 6, 5 is to 6. Then 10 by 12, 10 is to 12. Then 25 by 30, 25 is to 30. Whether these are equivalent ratios. What we can say? Yes, because for the first one we divided both numerator and denominator by the same number, and the other two, in order to get other two values, we multiplied both numerator and denominator by the same number. So what we can say, that whether they are equivalent ratios? Yes, they are equivalent ratios. Yes, they are equivalent ratios. So how will you get the equivalent ratios? When we multiply both numerator and denominator by the same number, we will get the equivalent ratios. Here we divided with the same number, and for the other two cases we multiplied with the same number. Therefore we can say that the ratios are equivalent. Now homework, exercise 12.1, question numbers 3 and 4. That's all for today's class. Thank you.